I'm Liz Rohr. I'm a family nurse practitioner and I'm also an entrepreneur. I've been a nurse practitioner for about 10 years. About a year ago that I wanted to do more than work in the primary care setting and clinic with patients, that I wanted to teach. And instead of taking the kind of traditional route of teaching in a university setting, I actually started my own business called Real World NP, which is an online educational platform to help nurses make the transition to practice a little bit easier into nurse practitioner. So before I joined Unbounded, I had gone through an online business training that was really comprehensive, the foundational pillars of online business and like how to go about it. And it was going well, but I felt like there was this wide open unknown where I wasn't really sure what the next steps were to take. And I kind of didn't know very much about online business. In the communities that I was a part of related to the business trainings that I had done, everyone was talking about coaching and mindset, and those were the next steps if I had all of these pillars of my email marketing and all of that stuff, my content on board, all of those things. So that's where I was kind of approaching Unbounded. I felt like what I was trying to get at was I felt like when I was entering online business, I had really strong foundations of how to start. But when it came to the next steps, I just felt like I kind of didn't really know what I was doing. And I felt like that's what I thought that coaching would help me do, spell it out for me and kind of coach me through what are the next things that I need to do in my business to step into a leadership role. I think it was just kind of I don't really know where to go next. This is one of the things that I talk about with Kat a lot, is that I feel like there's a lot of invisible rules of what I'm supposed to do. And I need a lot of permission externally. And I think that being an online business owner, I appreciate that there's what people want and what they actually need. And I think that when I stepped into coaching and Unbounded with Kat, I didn't actually know what I needed, which was more permission, trusting myself. I get to design my own path. And I just remember working with Kat, even before we signed up together, she gave me this exercise of listing out desires. And that was just so foreign to me. I had no idea what I was getting into, basically. I knew that I got what I needed, even though I didn't know that's what I needed. So before I started Unbounded, I didn't know what coaching was. I didn't know what business coaching was. So Kat, first of all, is magical. And I'm gonna try not to cry. I'm a very emotional person. But Kat brings this magic that is channeled almost. It's her and her skills, but there's something just magical that happens. That special touch and divineness, divinity that comes through with Kat is just very unique and very special compared to everyone else that I've worked with. And she just kind of sees things on this level that just blows me away. So the other thing that's special, aside from working with Kat, is that it was a really strong group of heart-centered women, entrepreneurs. It was such a special, safe place full of like-minded and hearted people, which feels hard to find sometimes. And I was very hesitant to join because I wasn't sure what I was getting myself into, who else was going to be there. There's a lot of vulnerability that I've discovered through learning how to do coaching. I should not be surprised at all in retrospect because of the person that Kat is and the types of people that she attracts. Trying to think about the moment that I realized that coaching was working for me was really difficult because being embedded in it was a very gradual process, but that was also very sudden, and it was much easier to see in retrospect. So I think that there are certain moments where it really sunk in for me. I had a real struggle with pricing. I had some big financial goals and I really struggled with the issue of pricing in particular. It was a huge, very difficult decision for me and it was very uncomfortable and way outside my comfort zone. And I think working on that particular decision with Kat basically blown up my business. And yeah, I don't know if I could have gotten there by myself. But yeah, there were a lot of little moments along the way. And I think it was mostly in reflection, especially in the community type of working with the other women in that community setting and seeing their changes reflected. I think it was just this gradual, very sneaky, slippery, but also beautiful process of I didn't know what was happening. I was kind of just along the river and then looking back how far I'd come. One of the things I really struggled with and still struggle with, but I'm way better at, is owning my greatness and giving myself permission. And I think that I came from this perspective before I started coaching with Kat of grinding and grinding and grinding. And that is the way that I've always done things. I'm a hustler, I'm a doer, I can get things done. And I set a goal and I achieve it. But I think that the main difference is that Kat has helped me see that there's another way to do that, a way that's sustainable, that's like fun, that like I'm not gonna work myself into the ground and get burnt out doing. Trying to think about like if I had not done coaching with Kat, I think that it's very probable that I could have reached the goals that I wanted to eventually, but like the state I showed up in would have been very different. Bedraggled, burned out, like not having fun, not excited in business anymore, hopping to the next thing. Whereas I think now, not only have I been able to have a multiple six-figure business in my first year, thank you to Kat and Unbounded. I got there way faster, and I think that I'm also having a lot more fun. It would have taken a lot longer and been a lot more painful to get here. I think right now, the way that it feels now compared to the way that it felt before, there's way more possibility, which is one of the things that Kat and I talk about a lot. Like, I feel like that is a lot more embedded. So I have to work not to revert back to the way that I've always done things for the past 33 plus years of my life. But I think that there's a lot more possibility. There's a lot more optimism and freedom and rest and fun and permission. I think permission is one of the biggest ones. Like, just even thinking back to our initial phone call, I was not even willing to write down some of my desires because of all the judgments that I had about them, the pragmatism I had about it in terms of like what's probable or likely, or a lot of things like that. So just a lot more of the positive things. So I'm already trying to recruit people for a Kat's mastermind. Anytime coaching comes up, I'm just like, Kat. So it's hard for me not to like yell from the rooftops how much I recommend Kat. I think it's just been a really magical experience, and I'm still working one-on-one with Kat. So I will still be able to engage with the magic. And I definitely feel like I have lifelong friends that I've met through the mastermind, but anybody is thinking about coaching with Kat or masterminding, there is just so much opportunity. It's just beyond anything that they could imagine.